Hi, Prof. Can you
Yes,
hear me?
yes, very
Uh-oh.
well.
There's something wrong with my computer.
Oh,
Prof, can you hear me?
yes, yes, I can hear you.
But
I
I
can hear
cannot
you.
see you. I cannot see you. Again, my computer has problems. Okay.
Oh,
How are you, Prof? How was
I'm
your day?
fine. Okay, it's one of those. It's been hot around here, but hey, we can win all. We cannot lose all.
Yeah, it's been a hectic week. Just want to announce that next week from April 27th to the 29th will be the Liberian Studies Conference in Durham, North Carolina, at North Carolina Central University. So we're asking you to stop by, um, attend the conference, and ask questions and get involved. So, and Prof and I will be there. So,
Hopefully,
right, Prof?
yeah, gonna
Okay.
be at LSA.
So today we have a big job in front of us because um, we're going to discuss Prof's newest book. Prof, it's a newest book, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, Beyond Buffoonery. And this book, I'm telling you, is not a book that you can play with. It's over 300 pages.
Mhm.
And I tried the best I could last night and today to go through the book. Prof, I'm telling you, it's not easy. But we will go through and we will learn as always from you. So first, Prof, when did you decide to write this book? And then why? After that, why the title?
uh, I I had done a prequel called "The Scum of the Earth." See, "The Scum of the Earth," uh, and that prequel it kind of captured the excitement that the weird team brought on the political landscape. Um, and those who had time to read that, uh, they had their own mixed reaction. Uh, First of all, the whole idea of we are running, and those who were of what I call the economic tribe happened to be a generic name I gave to those who may be called the intelligentsia, those who had a lot of education and therefore believed that the ruling of Liberia really needed to always be in their hands. So my one of my key thesis statements was that yes, I know education, deep-rooted education is okay, but if we do not create um, a space for the underprivileged, we will always have the frustration, especially with a new dispensation, which has to do with real democratic engagement. We are going to be frustrated by the masses who may not be catered for, or whose attention we are yet to attract. So the book was, hey, this is what you get if you are not very careful. This is what you get if you have the so-called equal playing field, but you are not paying attention, giving respect to the ordinary people who, in most instances, are often in the huge bracket of national population. And then we are keen in. I would have thought that he would have brought around himself very critical thinking people, a lot more selfless people to be able to drive the country forward. One of the reasons why I thought that way was that this guy had really cried for this. He had wine and all that kind of thing. Oh, my job. Oh, I want to be president. What have you? So I thought he would have done. Unfortunately, when I look at some of the things that were going on and what have you, uh, they were not all too impressive. So going towards the last year, his last year, I thought it was time to go back. It was like looking at you had done a hypothetical and wanted to explore it to see the extent to which that hypothetical had come through. So that brought in the second, which is the sequel now, which is Beyond Buffoonery. We can interchange that buffoonery with impressionism. Many of us in Liberia are so much impressionistic, so that it was time for us to call foul that. It was time to say, hey, I think we are going too far off, and we've got to stop this impressionism. We've got to get serious. Otherwise, the country is going to drift further afield.
So how long did it take you to write this book?
Like I've always said, for someone who does a bit of writing, themes are always speculating. And so the question of when, there might not be specificity to that when, but no sooner had we gotten into the fourth year than I began to contemplate the writing of this sequel, which is Beyond Buffoonery.
But Prof, your book is exploring ways to get Liberia well rooted in all
Yes,
things diligent and
yes,
dignified.
yes,
And in this book, like you were saying a few minutes ago, you're
yes,
very critical of the not only George Weah but
yes,
of Evan,
mhm,
and those that came before.
yes,
And as I was reading the book, I started to think that yes, you're critical, but
yes,
you put a lot of emphasis on the leaders
yes,
and not the people.
yes,
You talk about how um the leaders are the ones are the what did you say, they are the heartbeat of the
yeah,
people,
yeah,
right? That is the leaders.
yeah,
And you say you if I may, the power of a presence of the dependable is not a
yeah,
fable. So you
yeah,
you, you quote the childhood song, when papa's in the family, happy happy
yes,
home.
yes,
But don't you think, and I'm just trying to get a sense before we go into the book,
yes,
don't you think that by you putting this power in this imperial president, that
mhm,
the power, like you always say, the voice of the people is the voice of God.
yes,
So if power lies in the people,
mhm,
why should it matter
mhm,
if the president is not doing what the president ought to be doing?
mhm. That's an important point there. Uh, you see, one of the lines I drew out there was that whether we like it or not, there is some aspect of hero worship in society. In developing countries, sadly, it gets clearly autocratic. But in developed countries, even if an individual try to do that or a group try to do that, there are so many restraints. The media, active civic society, and all those institutions come together. But in our case, in the developing world, it is not like that. So if the media or any other institutions, any other set of institutions that may help rein in these guys from being all powerful, then that is better. But one of the things I said in there for which I brought in that song was that you've got to be you've got to be very serious in the context of leadership. And the very poem at the beginning of the book kind of sets the tone. Yes, we say that we don't want to confirm that this person has a lot more power. And yet, if that person has that, can we talk sense into that person? Can we talk sense into that person to be able to do things better? To know that leadership ought not to be proprietary so that you forget about those you are leading, especially when you were almost in epileptic seizure about wanting to be the head of the thing. So you've got to be able to find ways of helping this guy or this group search the conscience of whatever they are doing. So I agree. You are right that you need not play into them that much, but there is a reality that they are already there, and you must be able to do something to always bring them to their senses.
But in your, so if we are to talk about the different leaders in Liberia
Yeah,
and their benefits or the ravages of their rule,
yeah,
I find it very interesting. And like I say, every time I talk to you, I interact with you, I learn so much.
mhm,
I learned about Uri Buffenberner,
yes,
right?
yes,
So if you if and you were saying that in his theory,
yeah,
um, he talks about ecological systems theory.
yeah,
He talks about the fact that birthing and breeding,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
of every human being
yeah,
is a complex process.
yes,
So every aspect, I'm quoting from you now, if
yes,
I every aspect neglected is bound to result in deadly consequences,
yes,
right?
yes,
Okay. So in essence, what we're saying is that if this person is growing up, this person has to have structured
yes,
or an enabling environment,
yes,
and every rung of that ladder
yeah,
must be one that enables that person,
yes,
so that person can be a good leader or a good person.
yes, good person, yeah.
Okay, so are you saying that when we are choosing a leader,
Hmm.
we have to go back to that ecology of that
Yeah.
person,
Mhm.
that and look at it holistically
Yeah.
to be able to make a decision on whether or not that person would be a good person or
It,
a good.
it's it's important that we do that, and that becomes part and parcel of the reflective process that brings in the decisions we are going to base our what selecting the selection process on. So it requires a whole lot. That's all I'm saying in that context. It's like saying also that because he talks about Brofofina talks about 5 cycles, and he talks about the child and the home, the child and the community, the child and institutions, and you go on and on. So, uh, if we want to make sure that we are first we are creating an educated citizenry, then we have to pay attention to those cycles through which people grow. And when
Okay.
it comes to the leaders, we should be able to a kind of reflect on what they are capable of doing. And if we lose our grasp on that, then definitely it's going to be a problem in the future.
Yeah. So one of the ladders now,
Mhm.
one of the building blocks
Yeah.
of this ecology, if I
Yeah.
may, would be your first chapter, which is dignity,
Yes.
right? Or I mean, in the book, it comes
Yeah.
dignity.
There are two parts here.
Yeah,
Something
dignity
about
and diligence.
yes.
Okay. So you said dignity is self-respect,
Yeah.
right? So people who have dignity, they respect themselves, how one comports themselves, and
Yeah.
then you say to be diligent is to be
Yeah.
dignified.
Yes.
Okay. Looking at our leaders in Liberia,
Mm.
those that have passed and those that are
Are
vying for the
yeah.
election and
Yes.
those that are in power,
Yes.
you are very critical.
Mm.
You're very critical in that you almost see Liberia either going back to the past, and I may be misreading, but either going
Yeah.
back to the past,
Mm.
but that the people who make up the elite
Yeah.
at this point in time,
Mm.
there is something lacking, right?
Yeah.
There is something lacking with them. They are not dignity, they are not dignified, and
Mm.
most of them are not diligent in their work,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
Do you think, Prof, that if you are not dignified and you are not diligent,
Mm.
that you cannot be a good leader?
But those are very important characteristics. You, we must think of ourselves as being in the process of becoming.
Yes.
So the whole idea is not a one point stop. It's more of a continuous type of reflection. It's more of always asking yourself, what is it can I do better? I mean, when people grow to a certain extent, it is not a surprise that they continue to review their own lives. It is a constant process. So the whole idea is, hey, have you heard about the concept of dignity? Have you heard about the concept of diligence? To what extent can you articulate your own judgment, personal judgment, your own personal judgment that you've come at least close to it? Is not so much of coming, as I said, at a particular point and say, I have arrived. It is not possible to say, I have arrived. But the thing about life is that always wanting to do better is very much important than simply neglecting, reneging on what you ought to do. And that is the chiming part of the message that I'm giving in the book.
The book is very interesting read because it goes into quite a lot of detail when it comes to the trappings of the
Yes.
presidency.
Okay.
You talk about the inauguration,
Yes.
the different speeches, how
Yeah.
they're always promising something. They're always
Yes.
trying to give hope. They want
Yes.
to call the political mirage. They're
Yes.
always trying to give you hope, and people are so quick to hope.
Yes.
They're so eager
I call
to
it drug, in fact.
yes.
Yeah.
They're so eager to hope that the words that the words itself
Yeah.
is almost a conjuring.
Yes.
You know, it's
Yeah,
a
it's a conjuring.
conjuring. It's a conjuring of uh, of 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 um of what you,
Votes.
yeah,
Yes.
it's a conjuring of words, but it's a conjuring of the images that you hope in your mind
Yes.
that's going to be,
Mm-hmm.
but that never comes to reality.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yes.
talk about Ellen when she says that, oh, it takes all of us, right?
Yes.
And George,
Eventually.
he says we all need to
Yes.
work, right? So if the president is just the person who leads, you know, with this dignity and diligence, as you say, then the people should follow
Yes.
if if the conjuring is correct.
Yeah.
But but in a lot of the pages, you talk about how the people have been so badly disappointed,
Yeah.
right? Like Papa now come, right? Hope is the great country where Papa has come. So let's talk a little bit, Prof, about hope, because the book really, as I was reading the book, I James Joyce came to mind, almost like
Mhm.
a stream of consciousness.
Yes.
You are explaining, and then in some places,
Mhm.
it's almost like you forget the audience.
Yes.
See, Prof, I know you forget the
Yes.
audience. Just
Yes.
just talking, you know, and people are following, but it's almost like you're saying it's almost like you're talking to yourself sometimes.
At some
Say,
time. Yes.
this. So Prof, let's talk about this a little bit about hope, the promise, and
Yeah.
and 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 like you say, you call yourself a social commentator. Let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about these, what you call them, urban griots and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So we're in this political environment. Everybody is hoping for the best.
Mhm.
Everybody believes that their candidate is the best.
Yes.
And we're saying to them, before you say your candidate is the best, vet the candidate.
Vet.
Vet,
Yeah.
right? Look at what has made them.
Yes.
Yeah, Liberia is not a big place. So check their background. And when we
Mhm.
say background, we don't mean whether they were poor or not. We mean
Yes.
check their character.
Yes.
In times of stress, how dignified were
Yeah.
they?
Yes.
How diligent were they in the
Yeah.
work that they were given to do?
Yes.
Right? So, Prof, all of these things, yes, we know. But the voters themselves, right? You are assuming that the voters come from a moral place, that they will say, oh, this man is a good man, and so and so. But some of these voters themselves have failings.
No, the thing about it's not a matter of assuming that they the voters are in a better place than the leaders to come. It's all the thing about it is, hey, do you know what you are getting into? That's the question. Do you know what you are getting into? Can you position yourselves in such a way that you will be able to make the right determination? Or are there people to be of help? It's not left to themselves. Or are there people to help in the process? It's more of the idea that that for us to have decisions that will help us, and by that I mean the society, then definitely we all have to pull together. Those who need help for enlightenment have got to be helped to get enlightened. Because if all of us or most of us are enlightened, there is a lot more that can come from us. There is a lot more that the society can benefit from. So it's more of it's not a linear type of thing. It's horizontal, and everything involved, making sure that each one brings along the other person to make sure that we all are mentally solid to be able to make those decisions, to act in ways that will bring what much so much a lot of set of benefits to the society. That's the clarion call. You will go. You will realize that in the last chapter, I said this beyond buffoonery is a clarion call See, this Beyond Buffoonery is a clarion call to everybody to chip in as best as possible. Some time ago, we talked about saving the best for the rest, serving the best to the rest. All right, we talked about that, and that is this is more of an enduring theme that I'm kind of still chaperoning.
So, but okay, Prof. So we move on, and like you say, politics is nothing but who's gonna put food on the table, who's gonna give me a job,
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of people. Oh, I for one, when I would say to my family back home, if your life is better now, vote.
Okay.
Because I don't feel like I need to keep telling them, oh, who to vote for. You sit down in your place and say, if you feel that you're better off now, then you vote for the person who has made you better off. If you feel that your life is gone to the dogs, then vote. I mean, that's how I feel. I'm
Continue
not
to reflect. That's it. Continue to reflect.
continue to reflect.
Yes. You see.
You
So
know?
in fact, with such basic things, do I have to teach you? Do I have to really teach you to know that the decision you make is going to eventually determine what you get at the end of your decision? So if the
So
process can be guided, we can guide the process. But
yes,
when it comes to the voting, you know that you have your ballot and you are going to cast it where you want to cast it.
so the thing is, like you say, we can tell you, um, these are the qualities, right?
Yes.
And then you have your qualities, like you said, dignity, diligence, honesty,
Yeah.
patriotism, things like
Yeah.
that. And we say, these are the things that makes a good leader.
Yeah.
And we come back again to our tried and true. How do you know it is good? Yes,
Yeah.
here are the criteria.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
The
then
criteria.
add these criteria along with whether your life is better now, and then you go vote. you
Yes.
know so it's almost like Plato's myth of the cave,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're there looking at the flame, and then
Yeah.
and then Professor Nagbe has written a book, and he says this book, it will help you, it will guide you on your way out of the cave,
Yeah.
right? But the things that are in the book, it will only help you if you're able to utilize them in your
Yeah.
decision making
Mm-hmm.
for a leader.
Yeah.
So let's go to where we got Beyond Buffoonery.
Yeah.
That's a very funny title, Prof. Please explain
Mhm.
how you chose that title.
You know, um, uh, we are of many parts, and one of the parts has to do with literature. And I often delight in the playing on words, on sounds and all that. So we see alliteration right in there about Beyond Buffoonery. Uh, so since words, a kind of certain words tend to play well on the ear, I chose the last time an article that I did, talked about uh, uh, the crucifixion of snobbery. The crucifixion of snobbery, which was an article in the Liberian Literary Journal, Liberian Studies Journal. And here I wanted to bring a title that hopefully will attract attention. And so I talked about Beyond Buffoonery. And Buffoonery, as you look through the book, Buffoonery has to do with Impressionism. Buffoonery has to do with wanting to be what you really are not. And therefore, you try as much as possible to make it work. And in the case of making it work, you can do all kinds of things, sycophancy, corruption, and all those things. It is about time that we stop and move on to be ourselves, get serious, and see how best we can serve society.
So let's talk about it's not just the leader you talk about. You talk about the people around the leader.
Yeah.
Right? They themselves set the stage for buffoonery.
Yes.
Because the antics of the president.
The antics of the president, yes.
Yeah, I mean, you have it in your book. You say it's celebrated. You know, if the president says something funny, they all celebrate it, whether it's something that you laugh at or not. You know,
it's a sad thing.
Yeah. So in a way, it seems as if to say that the people themselves they relish the antics of the president, even
because
if
they don't know better, or because they are not made to know better.
Yeah, because you say to every Caesar there's a Brutus.
Yes.
So it's like not only Brutus, but to every king.
Yes.
There are, I mean to every puppet there are people who pull strings.
Yeah.
You know, so the people who pull strings. So, Prof, I mean, on a more serious note, I mean, the book was very, for me, I mean, until I came to almost the end, it was a very depressing book. You know,
Okay.
it's true that it's over 300 pages, so I didn't go through every page. Yeah. But in the book, you talk about the presidents, you talk about even those who make songs, you talk about the speeches. You quote speeches from Ellen Johnson, Papa not come, you know, but yet Papa is not bringing anything. You talk about the people who are disadvantaged, disempowered, who are poverty stricken in the country, and yet sometimes it is these same people who vote for the people who keep them down, right? And then you talk about about the interdependency of people, that we have to depend on each other to pull each other up. So, Prof, with all of these things now, looking at the current situation in our country, what do you see as some of the buffoonery that's taking place, and how can we address it?
About the issue of buffoonery is all over the place. In terms of, again, if one is forgetting about buffoonery, that person should think about impressionism.
Yeah.
Yes. I even talk about Pape.
Yes.
Which has to do with my father didn't come. I am daddy's proxy. Is what is it? I am daddy's proxy. And so when you talk about papilloidy in the Liberian parlance, it's more of, okay, I have come in the place of my father. What my father realistically is, I may not be, but I can pretend. So the theatricals, the dramatics have just got to stop. And the question of how do we do that? Well, this is where the media comes in. This is where those who can make certain determinations towards guiding a society through the better path, this is where they can come in. Unfortunately, even some of the religious people, they get what? They get absorbed into the dramatics. If you hear someone who is supposed to be at a high place of religion trying to curse those who are raising personal questions, then you have a problem. But the reality is that those who know better should be able to lead the way. It is a hortatory type of message. People, let's get up. Those who think they can be of help with their skills as far as critical thinking is concerned, with the help of resources and what have you, they need to get together to send the message, to a kind of spread the message, so that in time it is hoped that better things can come and lead our society out of the quagmire.
One of the things I learned about you today is that You're a SUF member.
Why you said that?
So, Prof, you
Why
talk
you
about,
said
I'm joking. I'm just joking. I'm
I
just joking.
know. No, well, no, I won't deny that because
You are
actually,
progressive. You are
yeah,
progressive.
yeah, now you're talking, but
Yeah.
I won't, I won't deny my participation when I was a young college student. My participation in student politics. The only thing was that I was a moderate voice. There were people in my ranks there who said I was too soft when they were writing very, very acerbic speeches and what have you. Whenever I call attention, it was like, my man, this guy is too soft. He can't, he know what we're doing here. That sort of a thing. So anyway, go ahead.
Because you talk about the people who went out of the country to get education and then return,
Yes.
right? And you're saying that these people, they started to agitate for the downtrodden and people.
Yeah.
What people are those? Are you talking about Baptist Matthews them, or you talking about the people now?
No, no, I'm talking about the 70 group. I'm talking about the
Okay, because those
Sawyers,
people,
the
I
Tipotels, the
don't see them now.
Mackenzie. Huh?
I don't see them now. Even with
Well,
the education,
yes.
lot of the people now that
Mm-hmm.
return, they're either looking for a government job, they're either
Mm-hmm.
looking for to
Some,
be
yeah.
senator or to be
Yeah.
representative. I
Yeah.
don't see them because I don't see the same ideological diligence and
Yeah.
dedication that
Yes.
was in the past, where the people really fought for
Yeah.
the downtrodden, and they had the principles. You know,
Yes.
I see now that people are like me first. So
And
that, but you say sorry, yeah,
and no, please finish what you were saying.
because you're saying that these people, they will fight for the people, then they will pause,
Mhm.
and then other group will take their place, but the pause should not be so extended,
Yes.
right? That it should be like, okay, we stop, but this other group continues, right?
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
see that in the country right now? Do you
Unfortunately,
see any of the
unfortunately,
groups?
you see, unfortunately, and that's the lament. That is the lamentation. That is the lamentation. And probably we can source that to the interregnum that came with the coup days, that came with the military days, that came with the war. So this interregnum, if it had not been there, maybe the generation before this generation would have been very strong in guiding the process. But if because of the coup and because of the war, people spread all around and what have you, uh, it's like talking about the center could not hold, then definitely the society then today has a problem by virtue of the fact that there was a broken link. There was a broken link. And for that broken link to be mended, sadly, it's going to take some time and it's going to come with voices, strong voices, making an impact, making people to kind of search the conscience to be able to work in the context of keeping society together rather than keeping it asunder.
So, Prof, one of the things you talk about is the interconnectedness of, I'm sorry, the interconnectedness of corruption, right?
Yeah.
Your book has a lot, Prof, and I'm trying
Yeah.
to about some of
Especially,
them.
yes.
Yeah. So it's almost like what Ellen Johnson said, that it's very difficult um to punish corruption,
Yes.
because once you put this person in jail, you related to the uncle or the auntie
Yes.
comes begging,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
right? My I guess my question is, how do you see this interrelationship? If you say this interdependence is something that is good, when it comes to corruption,
Mhm.
should 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 the interdependence of the people, the interrelationships, the intermarriage, whatever, should it come to play? Shouldn't it be like a leader who, do you think that a leader should really be someone who is empathetic?
Well, let's put a few things in perspective.
Okay.
I pointed out in the book that contrary to what uh, leaders or politicians say, the promise they gave that they are going to wipe away corruption, I say that's a blinking lie. And if you allowed that message to go, what you are doing is that you are not setting down certain things that will hold their fire to their feet to make sure that they do it right. I am saying corruption is in the human DNA, but like any other attribute, like anger and all those things can be curtailed, and therefore there's got to be some guardrails to be able to take care of something like corruption. Do not allow anyone to come upstage and say, I am going to wipe out corruption, when in fact, by the time you know what is happening, when your eyes are not on the ball, this person gets into even deeper corruption. And I talk about Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, I talk about a few others. They will tell you we are going to wipe away corruption. Even the comics that is out there, even Omer Boakai, they are talking about we are going to eradicate corruption. Eradicate corruption cannot be eradicated, but corruption can be managed. It's like talking about conflict management. You cannot eradicate conflict, but you can manage conflict. Managing conflict will make sure that you put those pegs into place that are always going to keep an eye on the corruption. But if you do it the other way around, then definitely you are going to allow these guys to go about their business thinking that they are going to wipe away corruption, when in fact they are not going to do anything. Our eyes will not be on them, and therefore corruption will run rampant and what have you. So talking about the interdependence that I was talking about, it is precisely because of that corruption is very difficult to wipe away, but that people can make sure that the aspects that can destroy people will always be tamed. That is what I'm saying in the process of talking about the interdependent.
Yeah, because in the book you quote George Weah when he says, "I want to see a Liberia where our market women and petty traders will own cars and be able to drive." Then he says, "I cannot do it alone." Then you also quote Ellen Johnson who
Mhm.
says, "My friends, let us recognize here today that securing a future of prosperity will require hard work from all of us."
Yes.
So
It,
it's a
it,
call to arms. It's a
it,
call to arms for the
yes,
people.
it's a conundrum. I must admit that it is a conundrum. It's a difficult thing. All I'm saying is that we must recognize how difficult it is and try as much as possible to bring all our energies, create a synergy to try as much as possible to destroy or to restrain that which can destroy us.
So Prof, I agree with you, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to. So if let's say I was a presidential candidate, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm running for president, and I
Yeah.
say, and following your book, I
Yeah.
say to them that I'm one of you.
Yeah.
I'm running for president.
Yeah.
I know that we cannot eradicate corruption.
Yes.
I know that corruption is embedded in our society.
Yes.
I know that the president can do everything, so vote for me, and so and so. But will they vote for me when in your
But
book also,
obviously, you won't say it like that.
no, but in your book you say that
Uh-huh.
the people think that the president is almost omnipotent, that he can do everything, right? So which one is it? Do I say to them, I have the answers, or do I say to them, you guys have to help me?
Yes, and this is how I can lead the way.
Okay.
This is how I can lead the way. One, two, three, four. Making sure that each one of you has a responsibility. The honesty of it all is the thing that we are looking for. But if people try as much as possible to manipulate because they think that manipulation is magic, then that's a problem. And we have to deal with that. So honesty and really being honest is very much important. But if you want to get into a magic thing of sliding the hand and what have you, and you do something and people say, "How did you do it?" And you say, "No, I just did it." That sort of a thing. You cannot build society like that.
Because last week we talked about, when we talk about leadership, we
Yes.
we started by saying what are the three characteristics that we are looking for, remember?
Yeah.
And I said a visionary,
Yeah.
and actually somebody who knows history as well,
Yes.
but somebody who can look at the country and say this country can go here,
Yes.
but there have been um extraordinarily good leaders who have done it. Not that the people wanted to go there, but they forced them to go there. Like
Yeah.
Lee Kuan Yew, right?
Yeah.
Lee Kuan Yew forced them to go there.
I persuaded them, because
Yeah,
force them
yeah,
is the thing there.
yeah. So yeah, I like your poem. Let Liberia become that Liberia, Prof.
Yeah. Yes.
I like it a lot. It's. I like it. I like. Do you have it in front of you?
Uh, let's see.
Page 73.
Yeah, let's see. 73. Um, 73. Yes.
Could you read it for us? Oh, it's
Mm.
long. Could you, but please, Prof, it's not that long.
Mm.
Almost like an ode to Liberia.
Yes. Yes. Almost
Yes,
like I told. Yeah.
yes. Could you please read it for us?
Mm.
And I will mute myself so I can hear it better.
Crack the dawn, O drums and horns of ancestral spirits. O breathe magnanimous mysteries from the four corners of the universe upon the face of an alien nation, writhing from the pain of protracted platitudes. Swell the air with euphony and symphony. A novelty braces for our age and stage. Crack the dawn, an egg quivering to hatch feathery wings to take the nation on a journey. What anxieties, what assurances, what visions, what missions. Let there come a synthesis, a distillation of wisdom of the ages. O immortal indigents, stalwart settlers. Seyan Joadnimene, Diduo Tue, Francis Wea Marias, Ma Swakoko, Collie Tamba, Edward Wilmot Blyden, William Coleman, Garrison Gibson, Thomas Faulkner. O snaking stream of steaming best, how can you not populate this space with guardian angels pacing around some good never before seen? Let Liberia, the underground highway of many a modern African nation that crawl from beneath jackboots of colonialism and apartheid, claps a trophy triumphant. Lift it high for once. Let Liberia dare not be the least among nations. The end. Are you there? Why? Uh, hello? Are we there?
Yes, I'm muted. Sorry, Prof. Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
I'm muted. Yeah. So, Prof, in your book, I mean, this poem, I read it again and again. And now,
Yeah.
when you talk about the immortal indigenous and the stalwart settlers, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And then in your book, you said that has there been any difference between them? Now that we've lived under two of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said we've lived on, what is it? There's a question you ask in the book. You said that now that we have lived, have there been, I think it's 109. I wrote it down. I'm telling you, Prof, I read the book, but
Mm-hmm.
it's big. But you talk about the fact that, it's how people always say, because of this division that we have, that
Yeah.
we have to get rid of. Um, you talk about maybe it's 119. I'm looking. I want to read the question. Uh, um, 124 and 124. But in the book, you said that, okay, so now we've had two different
Yeah.
groups.
Yeah.
These two groups, they have led the country now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now that they've led the country,
Mm-hmm.
are is there any difference between them
Okay.
in their leadership style? Is there any
Mm-hmm.
difference? And frankly speaking, there's none.
Okay.
Yeah, you answer the question by saying there's none.
Yes.
So if we say that they have leadership style that may vary,
Mm-hmm.
but the results are the same, right?
Yes.
Results are the same. It's the same oppression,
Yes.
right? So we've answered the question that whether you are indigenous or you are settler,
Mm-hmm.
the ordinary Liberian suffers the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we're coming to get a new president, or
Yes.
one we have.
Mm-hmm.
And we're saying that, okay, we're not going to tell you who to vote for. We're going to say to you, here are the criteria.
Yeah.
Look at these criteria and decide who to vote for.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the criteria should also be, are you better off now?
Yes.
If you're not better off, maybe you need to try something different.
Mm-hmm.
If you're better off, there's no reason for you to change.
Yes.
But even sometimes, if you're better off, you might even be more, I mean, you might even be better, or
Yeah.
have the best time of your life by
Yeah.
the person who is there,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I guess my question from the book would be, there's not a single candidate
Mm-hmm.
now that doesn't show or exhibit some buffoonery.
Yes.
Okay, so what are we to say? Look for the person with the least buffoonery, or what?
Maybe look for the what do they always say, the lesser evil, someone with lesser evil, or that sort of a thing. Now, uh, if I look at the question, when I say that whether it is the Western flavored African, people call the settler, or the indigenous group, what has passed in these many years has been that of, like they say, buttering your own bread. The Western flavored Africans, the settlers, came buttering their own bread. The indigenous sons and daughters that came thinking that they will make a difference, many of them have been buttering their own bread. And the book makes the point that such selfishness has got to stop. Such selfishness has got to stop. If the country is to make a difference, then there has to be a synergy of honest people, a synergy of selfless people. It is through that synergy that the country is going to make a difference. That is what we have not found, and that is what we have to find. Bringing along the media, bringing along civic groups, bringing along people who are clear thinkers and honest thinkers to make that difference. That's what we should be able to get out of it. So it's not one of losing hope. It's not one of saying, well, you say this other group is not good, the other group is not good. Who will be good now? No, we must be able to rake through the two groups to be able to plant that group that is going to make a difference because of the selflessness, because of the honesty, and because of the what? Because of being visionaries. That is the point that is being made.
So even without the leaders, you talk about the people also, that the people, most of our people, they pretend
Yes.
to be what they are not. So that's an element of buffoonery as well.
Yes. Yes.
They are shielding themselves in this shell,
Yes.
fake shell,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So what are some of the elements of shielding that they have, besides, like you say, their degrees and things like that? What are some of the other elements that they shield themselves with, that they show buffoonery with?
Oh, especially in that part that has to do with buffoonery, there's sycophancy that's carried on over there. There's double talking and all those things that go on over there.
Yes.
So anything that seems to make them real, but in reality they are not, helps to kind of create the aura of the buffoonery I'm talking about.
Yeah, I always say that when you're talking and people say, I hear what you're saying, they're not really listening. They say it because
Yeah.
you know, yeah. So and like Prof, like you said, and I agree. And listen and silent, they are spelled with the same letters, you know.
Yes.
So it's true. I think that I mean, in this world, people do have a shield, but when you take that shield to an extreme,
Yes.
when your shell becomes fake,
Yes.
when you, like you say, when you have double speak, you know, that you say one thing to somebody else and say another thing to somebody else, that's almost buffoonery, because
Yes.
people think that buffoonery is somebody who dressed crazy, but
Yes.
it doesn't necessarily have to be that, right,
No,
bro?
you are not. It's not being a clown in a sense. It's not being clownish, but it's several things put together. At the heart of it is that I word I keep talking about, which is impressionism.
Yes, yes,
See. For instance, we talk about the dress code of the present generation, especially those who are in leadership. Why do I have to carry all this beer? Huh? Why do I have to carry all this beer when I'm just 40, I'm just 41, and what have you, and you make it look like I'm old and I am not, and all these things. So the little trappings here and there, okay, they help to increase the aura of buffoonery.
yeah, you know, Prof, I agree with you. In grad school, there was a student in our group one time, and we're all reading, and then he was supposed to give a presentation. So when he was going to go practice, we're all there, and he was going, and the other girl said, "Oh, you left your glasses, right?" Thinking that he wouldn't be able to see. He said, "No, no, no. I just wear it because it makes me look smart."
Oh my God!
Because I mean, he felt that wearing glasses was an intellectual
Wow!
facade that he would wear, you know, and people would think that he's smart. So he said no. So in a way, if you look at, I think buffoonery is any, and I'm speaking figuratively, is any garment that you put on
Yeah.
to shield yourself
Yes, from yourself. Yeah.
you and the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sometimes it's almost like you don't think that you're being fake when you
Yes.
are. You
Yes.
So in a way, I think that sometimes your lack of awareness that you are being fake is also a form of buffoonery, because
That's what it is.
yes, that's what it is. Yeah. See, Prof, I learned something from
But the
you.
thing about no, but the example you gave about that guy We may think that it's a simplistic example, but it's a powerful example. The idea that this guy had the guts to say that he wears the glasses to seem smart.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
It's deep.
So the trappings then would be even when you're in government. So if you're in government, if you are driving and you have a Toyota,
Mm-hmm.
and you say no, I want a Nissan Pathfinder, an SUV, big,
Can you
because
imagine that?
the trappings of your office
Yes.
should be something other than what you have.
Yeah.
I think that's where the corruption comes in, because if you are a minister on your salary, you're getting a house with 2 bedrooms, and you feel like no. As a minister, I should be living in a house with 10 bedrooms.
Yes.
It leads to corruption.
Yes.
It
You
leads to
are struggling
corruption.
for something that you don't deserve, or even if you deserve, you are stretching so much that you are not drawing. The resources are not coming from your pocket.
Yes.
The resources are not coming from the pocket. They are coming from the public coffers. And if they come from the public coffers, the ordinary human individuals who could get a few little dollars or a few more resources to live at least a decent life, you are depriving them of that. That is a form of buffoonery. So when you go to our legislature and you see sons and daughters of the land fighting over 20,000, 25,000, and all that kind of a thing, when the ordinary people are not getting anything, that is another form of what? Buffoonery.
So it's like theater of the absurd.
Yes.
Yeah, brother.
But you know the book now. You know the book. That is what it is.
Yes. Yes.
And these things add up. Sadly, these things add up. And,
Yeah.
and when we think we are making things better, we end up making things better maybe for ourselves to the detriment of the ordinary people whose interest we thought you went up there to seek.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you say, Prof, I mean, sometimes, yes, it is true that the people who are in government, they make buffoons of themselves by trying to be something that they are not.
Yeah.
But we must also, as a society, see ourselves as being the architect
Yeah.
of the stage on which
Yes.
we perform.
Yes.
Because if somebody becomes a minister and that person says, I'm going to build a house, 2 bedroom house, because I'm not married, we are the ones that say, but what kind of man is this?
Yes.
Why can't he build a mansion? Look at this, or so we are assuming for him
We
that,
prop this person. Yes.
yes. So we have to be able to say to ourselves as people, to say, we see this man
Yeah.
as a person, we see this man as a person who has a salary,
Yeah.
but we cannot have he cannot maintain a different lifestyle.
Yes.
We're not asking him to come and stay where we are because we are
Yes.
poor. But when you expect something more from someone in government,
When you
and the
expect something
person
more. Yes.
and the person feels like, you know what, I have to show them.
That I am.
Corruption comes in. Yeah,
Yes.
corruption comes in because the man, he has to perform on your stage of expect.
Yes. You
You
are the
expect,
cheerers.
yeah, you expect something, and he doesn't want to disappoint. So I think that we are all, in a way, we have some elements of this buffoonery, and we need to be able
Yeah.
to look at ourselves and say, how can we as Liberians, temper this expectation by
Yeah.
saying, yeah, he's one of us, he got a job, yeah, that's it. I think that we demand, I think that sometimes the corruption comes when we are the ones who demand
Yeah. We
a
build a
certain
mountain of
lifestyle.
expectations for those people. Yeah.
I mean, and you know, if the man say, "Oh, leave me, I have a 2 bedroom, it's enough for me," we say, "Oh, look at this foolish man."
Yes, and
Oh,
some
yeah.
people, that's why God can bless some people. You get there, you can't go to the top, you just stop halfway. What's wrong with that guy? And then, and then, if that person is from a specific tribe where they talk about stupidity, then they say, and, and you see it, that's why we're talking about those stupid people.
Eh, and I mean, you say that's what you say. You know, buffoonery is like a syndrome of overstretched
Mm-hmm.
desire,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So that's it. If the worst forms did not affect members of the community, who will care or foot about what an individual did with
Yes.
personal choice? But it affects the community.
Yes.
It affects the community, and that's why you see people. You know, I mean, you see people, and they say, "Oh, this man, he was building this big house, but the house didn't finish." Yes, it didn't finish because you expected him to perform.
Yeah.
You know, and and his lifestyle didn't allow him with
Yes.
the funding that he has, but yet you
Yes.
expected him. It is like, you know, Prof, when you go to the circus, because that's what life is anyway. Life is a circus. And
Mm-hmm.
you go to the circus and you see these animals performing because
Yes.
the master is cracking the whip.
Yes.
We crack the whip
Yes.
sometimes, even for leaders, you
Hmm.
know, and then we say, "Oh, but the leader not strong
Mm-hmm.
because, or the leader is too strong," but we
Yeah.
expect these things. So I guess my question to you, which would be our closing question, is how do we temper? Okay, this beyond buffoonery. So you're saying that it's not even buffoonery, it's beyond.
Yeah. Beyond buffoonery.
As Liberians,
Mm-hmm.
what can we learn from this book
Mm-hmm.
so that as we are voting and we get another president or the same president, we don't make the same mistake going forward?
The key word is reflection. You see, reflection has to be iterative. In other words, it should be going sideways and it should be going up and down, that sort of a thing, in so many ways. We need to be a reflective people. And in that reflectiveness, we will find ways to tamper, you know, the things we say. Look at some of the things, simple songs. If you get to that point of what I talk about, the simple songs, serenading these people here and there,
Yes, you had a
born to win, you know, I want to enjoy myself. All these songs, from the get go, they don't mean anything. But when it's this simple, yeah, this simple thing, yeah, it hurting them. This simple thing, yeah, this simple thing, it hurting them. Those kind of little social jibes and all those things that we bring together, the repetitiveness of those things get to the heads of other people, and they think that they can do things in wild ways and they will be loved in that process. So again, it comes back, I'll repeat that time and again, which is reflectiveness. Can we uh, can we ably get people to always reflect on how food comes, reflect on how drinks come, reflect on how other sources of support come, so that when these people are taking hard decisions, they will be able to make sure that the decisions they make are things that are decisions that are enduring. Can we do that? So at the heart of it, my dear, is that of being reflective, being critical thinkers. And probably one group cannot do it or one individual cannot do it. We have to create silos of reflectiveness. And through that process, there can be a lot more learning done to a kind of raise the kind of thinking, raise the quality of the decisions we make to be able to ensure that the society works very well. I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do. No, if it were an easy thing to do, Others will not write books about them. But consistency is very much important. Consistency is very much important. That's what I'm saying.
In this book, there's a place where you talk about dignity, and you list the same thing we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
That when you're going to when someone says, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
You know, the question really is, "Who are you?"
Yes.
And you say, just like you're going to pack, right?
Yes.
You're
Uh-huh.
packing your things. So,
Yeah.
so I found that to be very interesting, because you and I talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
That somebody say, "Who are you?" And you say, "Oh, I'm from Liberia."
Yeah.
But really, Moses, who are you?
Who are you?
You know, and that takes reflection.
Mhm. What makes you tick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like if we ask boy, we say, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
You know, then she says, "Oh, my name is boy." Yeah, but who are you?
Are you?
And then you start to think, okay, I'm the person who values honesty.
Yes. Your
I'm the
word you
person,
comes into the
yeah.
picture.
You start to define the things that make you, and Prof, that's why we always talk about this journey we are on in this,
Yes.
because it's almost like us saying, what are the things that you will not do? You
Yes.
like I always say to myself, what is my red line?
Yes.
What is the place that I would never go? You
Yes.
know, that when I reach there, I would know I'm no longer Jackie.
Yes.
You know, and you say that, you say when people are packing,
Yes.
you're packing yourself.
Yes.
You know, what are these things that you're making? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that was a very powerful part of the book, because
Yeah.
when I read it, I sat and I started to think. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, and for me, reflection, like you say, is very important. You know, when I
Yes.
sit, I read, sometimes I discard, and
Yes.
sometimes I make it a part of Jackie's
Yes.
repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That is very important.
so when Liberians, we started by saying, when you say I'm a Liberian, what does it mean
Yes.
to be a Liberian? So I think, Prof, that I mean, that was a very powerful part. That if
Thank you.
Liberians start to reflect,
Mm-hmm.
who are we
Mm-hmm.
as a people? You know, who are
What?
we when we are throwing these little jibes, hating
Yeah.
you, hating
Yeah.
you? Who are we throwing it at?
Yeah. Who are we throwing it at?
Yes, you know.
Hmm? This talking about that when this guy stir up this noise about going on LU campus to have luncheon with his sponsored students and what have you. That's the first song he got on that rock there. Huh? He took off his jacket and he had on only his t-shirt. I mean that other image was so ridiculous. Got on it had thing there this month, it had thing there, it had thing there. I said, what? What are you talking about?
You know, Prof, it's like when we're talking about people should know history. And you and I going through, we've seen how, Liberians fought for Liberia. You know, you had the British people come here and say, "Look, let's just plant our little ship, our little flag here."
Yes, you know.
And you had Elijah Johnson saying, "No,
Yes,
no,
you
no,
know.
no, no,
Hey,
no, no."
nonsense, they don't bring it
You know,
here.
you had us fighting in England and France for our boundaries.
Yes.
And so when people say, "Oh, let just get a country, let America just kind of take Liberia," I'm like, do you know
Hmm?
history?
Do
Do
you
you
know history?
know
Do you
that
understand it?
do you know that Liberia was never meant to survive?
Hmm?
That its death certificate was written even before
Yes.
independence. And these people fought for Liberia. And that's why they said it would be open to the blacks from all over the world. And
Yes.
you come and say, all you're fighting over the ages, over the hundreds of years, it
Yes.
finished. We just
Hmm.
won't give our country to somebody. So
Can you
that's why when
imagine
people
that?
say, "Who are you?"
Hmm.
It is very important
Yeah.
for people to know history, to craft that little
Yeah.
preamble to say,
Yeah.
we as
Yeah.
a people
Yes.
who were never meant to survive, we
Yes.
persevere,
Hmm.
and this is who we are, and I that thing hurts me when people say that, even, and I'm like, is your life even worse
Hmm.
than those indigenous people and those settlers who were there suffering,
Yes.
and using their hands to dig the ground?
Eh?
Your life is not worse than them, and
Yeah.
they suffered and they build like our country, and you are
Yeah.
saying that we should just take it now and say, oh, it's too much for us to handle. You handle
So
it. So
just
who are
yes.
we as a people? You
Who are
know,
we?
and to answer that question, you start by saying to yourself, who are you?
Who are you?
You know, are you somebody who easily gives up?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who wants somebody else to come and fix your life?
Mm-hmm.
No, because that's the only way you think somebody else will come from outside to fix the country that you live in.
Yes.
Nobody's going to fix it for you.
Nobody. If you can't
Nobody.
do it, then you might as well rot away. That's what it
You
is.
know, I tell people, I say, look, Zambia was colonized by the British.
Mm.
I've never been to Zambia, and yet Zambia say, oh, and the British say we must do this, British
Yes.
say we must do that. Nothing.
Nothing.
They
They do
work
it
hard.
themselves.
You know, they work hard. So I mean, I thank you for the book. I read the book. I mean, like I said, I skimmed through almost the
Mm.
ending because it's a big book. But I think that if people look at buffoonery and see it as, oh, this thing where people act crazy,
Yeah.
they're missing the point of the book.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not what the book is saying.
No.
At least I don't think that's what it said to me.
No, it's not. You got it. You got it. That's not what it
Yeah,
said.
buffoonery is those antics
Yes.
that you do that disempowers people, that
Yes.
hurts our country,
Mm-hmm.
that makes you seem bigger than you are when you are
Yes.
not.
Yes.
I think those are the things that
Mm-hmm.
Prof is talking about.
Things that diminish you as a human being. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I, I, you say you didn't read much. I know if you had read it, then I know what. So you did a very marvelous job with it, and I mean I always trust this man that I'm interacting with and all that. But again, uh, this is more of saying that we have a very serious task.
Yes.
We who see ourselves as people of elevated minds, we have a task, a serious one. And I pray that we do not renege. I pray that we don't hold back, that we should find spaces for continuous dialogue and conversations. It is through all that one find a. I think one time I mentioned this here. One of my colleagues at the college um, made a point. She said, you know, when we interact with these students, then we think they are not getting anything from what we are saying. But if we find even one who understands where we are going, that should be a plus. Because through a snowballing effect, uh, this message that we are getting to them will be passed on. So we should not be weary. We should continue to talk. Uh, Sawyer then talked. They have left the scene. A few other conscientious and determined people have come on this show and have left. We too, our moment will come, but until that moment comes, we should continue to let their voices be elevated, and hopefully something good will come out. If it is not the time of our children, it will be the time of our children's children. That's the hope I carry in my heart as we always interact on this forum.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prof. We want to acknowledge Augustine Musa, who is watching the show.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Augustine.
Yeah, oh wait, where is, yeah, Augustine is there. Hi Augustine, and thank you for watching. We want to acknowledge so my computer is so slow, Prof. So we want to acknowledge Dennis. Dennis says, congratulations, Prof, on your new book.
Thank you,
So so
DJ.
so and Dennis is saying congratulations, Prof.
Thank
I don't know
you.
why it's taking long, but it's there. And then of course Emmanuel Jackson, our
Ah, Our Emmanuel Jackson.
Says congratulations also, Prof, on your book. You're such a prolific for such prolific writings.
Thank you,
and of course our own Prof. Oh wait, it's not coming. It's not coming. It's not. I thought it was. Okay, so there's Dennis. There's Dennis, and then I don't know what's wrong with my computer. And then there's your offspring, my daddy. Still mentally sound and intellectually equipped. Pray to God, more grace. Is that your daughter or son? Momboju 1394.
Who's that?
Nagbe Momboju.
Oh, oh, he watching it too. Yeah,
yes, watching it. Yes, and yes, and then Emmanuel says overcoming buffooneries in a Liberian governance system can't be the eradication of corruption in government, but upholding the rule of law and eliminating the culture of impunity.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess that's that too. But all of those are elements of what he's talking about, Emmanuel.
Talking book.
Roland says it. He's watching from Congo Town, Peace Island. Hi, Roland. I hope you're well. Enjoy the weekend. I hope everything is okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. And our other faithful viewer, Boyna, watching from Lansdowne, Pennsylvania.
Hi, Boyna. How are you?
Yes. And yes, she said that is true. Liberia was never meant to survive, but as you said, Liberians do not know the history of people, do not know the past, cannot move forward. I totally agree with you.
Yes.
So we have to fight for this country. And then your friend Philip Logan says congratulations, Prof.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah, so thank you all again for joining us on this wonderful Friday.
Yes.
As always, we're here Friday at 6 o'clock. Again, we would like to say, please purchase Professor Nagbe's book. It's Beyond Buffoonery. The link is in the chat.
Yes.
And also, don't forget to go to the Liberian Studies Association.
Yes, please.
The conference is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of next week. I've sent the link so you can check it. You can register. You can stop by. We'll all be there to discuss all things Liberian. I want to say thank you to all of you again. And as we always say, we're all Liberians. So whether you are, I don't know, Prof, whether you are from Peacetown, Congo Town, right? Whether you are from Lansdowne, like whether you're from upstate New York or you're from Lanham, Maryland, or you're in Monrovia right now, we want to say we're all Liberians.
Yes.
Lift Liberia up. Congratulations, Prof, on your book. And as we always say, we're all Liberians, let's keep it that way.
Thank you.
And God bless.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Our father.